So as Francois said, US, China, Japan, and South Korea on AI. This was a topic that was shared among my colleagues, Pierre from Japan, Stefan from China, Sun Tai from Korea, and myself. So I started off with the US perspective of AI, and most of you have heard the US story, OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, NVIDIA. Heavy investment early on by large US enterprises. 45% of all data centers are based in the United States, and 54% of the world's global data center is operated by US-based companies. So the US has been first in with a lot of models. It was interesting to hear from my Chinese counterpart that in the time frame between June of last year and April of this year, China's growth in data center has increased by 138%. So they are developing their own data centers. They're increasing their capacity from 28 gigawatts to 40 gigawatts, a lot of growth in China. And what we heard from our counterparts was 20 to 30% of their development right now is locally produced. So they're trying to get to a non-Western strategy, build things China only. So when we look at the strengths, one of the things that's noted on the left-hand side is 50% of equipment that they develop, they have this 50% rule that says that all of their equipment has to be 50% Chinese developed. They did identify some limitations in their development of technology. They can't produce semiconductors with less than 7 nanometers. So much of what they've identified is they have an intention to grow. They have 3 of the top 20 enterprises right now, and they're developing this growth. And on the right-hand side is a graphic of an organization called Naruo Group, which is a semiconductor company that has just exploded in growth and size. Some of the other insights that we received from Japan was that they have this concept and a term they call chappy, and it's being adopted by the Generation Z, Generation Alpha, the younger generations, that it's adopting AI and developing AI. So the younger generations in Japan are really embracing AI, adding it to their personal lives, their workforce. On the right-hand side, when we look at Japan's in robotics, 30 to 40% of robots are built in Japan. And we see that in the United States, even though car manufacturers and companies in the United States are heavily robotics based, is that we get most of our technology from Japan. So Japan has a huge technological development and growth. It was fascinating to hear from my counterpart Sung Tai out of Korea, is that I wasn't aware of this, but Korea is the number 2 user of ChatGPT and AI, right behind the United States. So one country, huge usage of AI, huge investment, $74 million in development of data centers. But they're also, as of January this year, putting in a lot of AI privacy and security. The companies on the bottom there, Exa1, Hyperclova, Kanana, these are Korean-based companies that are growing to build semiconductors, data centers, and application software. And what on the right-hand side, what they identified was they too, just like China, just like many organizations and countries, are dependent upon NVIDIA, dependent upon a lot of the US-based organizations, and they're trying to grow that and develop internally with their own sovereignty. Some of the things that they were noted, robotics is a big area that South Korea is looking to develop. They have a goal to have 30,000 humanoid robots by 2028. And companies like Hyundai and Samsung, the big car manufacturers and technology manufacturers, are teaming together to build these robots, humanoid type robots, to be able to build out the growth. And they're allied with other companies within Korea to develop that growth. The right-hand side is the challenge that my Korean counterpart had noted, was that Korea has a falling fertility rate. The very few younger births and folks entering into the workforce. So good and bad thing is, the bad thing is that the decrease in labor force minimizes the innovation and the people developing stuff, but this is where they feel AI might be able to support development and manufacturing. So to sum up, US has had a head start. However, being first is hard to maintain. Everybody's trying to catch up to the United States. And as I showed and what we talked about in this session, China is fast growing. They have developed electrical power to operate their data centers. They're building their own chipsets. And Japan has a huge leadership in robotics and automation. So they're leveraging that technology to be a big piece in their development of workforce. And a surprising influx from Korea that, again, I was unaware of, that its manufacturing, production expertise is growing. And what I summarize from what's going on across these countries and how I might relate it to France is the idea of sovereignty. Develop domestic capacity, compete against the West and compete against America, and create this movement of internal development to be able to leverage AI into the future.